All right, Lions fans. As usual, I'm doing my daily Detroit Lions search to see if there's any news, anything good going on with the Detroit Lions. And I came across this article right here. Albert Beer said, is talking about should the Lions trade for Myles Garrett and why he is the top spot to land in Detroit. Now, just real quick, at the end of the season, the Cleveland Browns did not make the playoffs, and Myles Garrett did say that he feels that he earned the right to not have to go through a rebuild. So Cleveland has really having issues with Deshaun Watson, and basically if Deshaun Watson is down or he can't play next year, he hasn't really made a whole lot of strides as he came back. They could be in for a rebuild. And Myles Garrett has made it clear that he does not want to be a part of a rebuild. So let's see what some of this article says. The Detroit Lions have an opportunity to cash in on building a roster that is close to winning a Super Bowl. Myles Garrett expressing his desire to end his tenure with the Cleveland Browns has caused Lions supporters to decide if it's worth it to invest heavily in trying to acquire him. It says, appearing on the Dan Patrick Show, NFL reporter Albert Breer shared why Detroit is his favorite destination for one of the best edge rushers in the league. And before I read what Albert Breer said, I would like to say that as a Lions fan, this is a move that I would welcome. Now, I want to say it was I'm sorry, I forget exactly where I saw that earlier because I looked at a couple of different interviews, but this is my first time reading this one. That it was asked, should the Lions go in, maybe give a couple of first round picks? And some of the articles I read said that they are not all in, type of fans. Well, I am an all in type of fan. I gave the Baltimore Ravens credit when they went and got Derrick Henry, a running back who was still in his prime. And one of their biggest weaknesses was running back in Baltimore. They swung for the fences. I've mentioned before about the Houston Texans bringing Stefon Diggs in. Listen, when the window closes quick, you cannot have that mindset that, well, you never know what'll happen. I'm sure we'll be back next year. You don't know what will happen next year. All we know, our Lions could go 7-10 this year. While we're already talking about the playoffs, you never know what's going to happen in next year. Listen, I may have told you all before that, I was at the 1991 NFL divisional game against the Dallas Cowboys. Our Lions won, and of course they ran into that juggernaut of the Washington Redskins, who was going to win the Super Bowl anyway. But the Lions made it to the NFC Championship game, and then the next year, 1992, the Lions didn't make the playoffs. They did make it in 93, but they did not make the playoffs the next year. So you can't have that mindset that we have this team. This team is built ready to go, and we can make the playoffs. I believe that you have to swing for the fences while the window's open. Back to the article. My favorite destination would be Detroit. I just think about that. They're in a spot now where they don't need their first round pick. I agree. Breer said they don't really need to keep stocking up. They may be in a position where if you're them, you may almost say we may only have 5 or 6 rookies make our team. So you're in a position now where it's like we can start to flip picks. Let me scroll down a little bit more, see what he says or what the article says. It says like many, the idea of pairing with future Pro Football Hall of Fame defensive lineman Aiden Hutchinson is quite appealing, which I would agree with. That would give them a definitely crazy 1-2 punch, one deafening pass rusher on the left, one on the right. I believe that would I think that would play good for the Lions. I think that they would be very scary. You got to remember, Aleem is not going to be back until probably Thanksgiving or maybe even closer to Christmas, to be very honest with you, recovering from that ACL. It says, I'm just looking at this. I didn't see this before. Albert Breer explains why the Lions are his favorite destination. I wonder if he's just going to say, you know what, let's play a little bit of this and see what he says. I wonder if he's going to basically say what I just read.
All right, final 30 seconds. We're going to play the Myles Garrett game.
Okay.
Later on. Where will he go? I'll let you have your...
My favorite destination would be Detroit.
Oh,
I just think about that. Like I'm like they're in a spot now where they don't need their first round pick. They don't really need to keep stocking. Like they may be in a position where if you're them, you could almost say like we may only have 5 or 6 rookies make our team. You know what I mean? Like So are they in a position now where it's like we can start to flip picks? If you're them and you lost all of these coaches and you want to flip the momentum and kind of keep things going in the right direction, I mean, God, the idea of Myles Garrett opposite Aiden Hutchinson, I mean, like that to me is really intriguing. And so, I mean, I think Detroit's in this championship window, and like after, I mean, they had so much momentum, and then the ugly loss to Washington, and they lose 6 or 7 coaches, and it's like looks like, oh God, are they missing their window? What's the easiest way to flip that?
That's interesting. Yeah. I like that.
All right. So yeah, he did say some of the things that we saw earlier in the that we read earlier in the ad, but that's okay. We got his take on it. So to end this, I would say that I absolutely agree. I think that the Lions need to make a move. They need to make. I think that Brad Holmes needs to show us that he's going to take advantage of the window. I know a couple years ago he said we're going to build through the draft, and our people have done that. And they're not going to necessarily go make big splashes here. It's time they make a big splash in 2024. Brad Holmes did not get us the pass rusher we wanted. We took 2 corners with our first 2 picks in the draft. Yes, we did bring us Darius Smith before the trade deadline, but Myles Garrett would be deadly on one end with a healthy Aiden Hutchinson on the other end. They would absolutely be unblockable. All right, Lions fans, give us your thoughts on that. You see scrolling on the bottom of the page, our YouTube page. If you would, go over there, like, comment, subscribe. You see right there, actually, I'm going to put it right there on the screen. You see our Twitter/X page on the scroller. If you haven't followed us over there, do so as well, if you will. And then right there is our TikTok page on the screen. If you haven't already, we appreciate you giving us a follow over there as well. All right, Lions fans, give us your thought and let us know what you think about this possibility of maybe bringing Myles Garrett in instead of letting him go to another team. That's all we got for this one. Until next time, peace.